Welcome to another edition of From Beyond Champaign. I'm Cody. You can follow me on all the socials at Cody_CHGO. Uh, we have had, 12 to 18 hours now to take in this Illinois loss to Rutgers. Illinois lost 82-73 at Rutgers. And if you watch my video I put up on TikTok and on as a short here on my YouTube channel, it was a, how would I define it? I would define it as a whatever loss. Like, it's incredibly frustrating. You look at Rutgers' record and you feel like you should win this game. But we all know that Rutgers has more talent, or Rutgers is a better team than what their record says. We all know this. They were projected to be one of the better teams in the Big Ten this year. Dylan Harper's had injuries, whatever. Dylan Harper comes back last night, of course, and goes off against Illinois. And Ace Bailey is also another projected top 10 pick in the draft. So as much as it's a very frustrating loss, I just truly believe Rutgers is better than what their record is, and we'll see if they go on a run and find themselves, sneaking into the NCAA tournament, or, maybe if they win the Big Ten tournament, something. I don't know. I'm not excusing anyone here. Just to put that out there. I'm not excusing anyone for this loss. I am just saying that I think we need to acknowledge that things I don't think it's as bad of a loss as USC or Nebraska. Yeah, I would say those are still probably the two worst losses. Ugh. Anyway, we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about Kasparas Jakucionis. He's gone. He's hit that freshman wall, I think. If we need to start donating ankles to Tomislav Isavic. And also, I'm still can't believe that ref did what he did. And you all know what moment I'm talking about. So, again, hit the like button here on YouTube. The links to the audio version of this show on Apple and Spotify are in the description. Any subs, any reviews, all of that stuff, greatly appreciated. And yeah, let me know how you feel as an Illini fan right now, and in the chat here on YouTube, and I'll try and read as many comments as I can. So, of course, the first comment is a guy asking when the Cubs are going to sign Bregman, and all I can say is that it is most likely the Cubs are going to sign Bregman when I'm doing this. So stick around. You might get a full reaction. The things that happen at the most, I guess, in my most preoccupied times, it always happens. So I've been following that, obviously, for CHGO for the last 2 weeks, and it's kind of taken me out of this, but I've still been able to watch all the Illini games, and they are number 2 in my heart. So yes, I'm just very, how do I say this, guys? I'm very frustrated. I really thought the Ohio State game was the turning point, because they went to the free throw line 31 times. They didn't shoot. They didn't jack up 42 threes. I felt like the Ohio State game was the turning point. And that first half, dude, like, we can say if this happens, or if Tomislav doesn't get hurt, or all these things, right? We can say all these things, but at the end of the day, it's like, you gotta beat Rutgers, man. You gotta beat Rutgers. And I understand fans' frustration with Brad, and I'm not even giving Brad a break here. I'm not giving Brad a break, because I feel like he probably could have adjusted on defense at some point and maybe brought more double teams to Dylan Harper, especially in the last 10 minutes of the second half, right? I feel like that's what we could have at least done. But Dylan Harper was cooking us all night, and I feel like nothing really changed, okay? They shot 23s total against Ohio State, only made 4. They shot 28 yesterday against Rutgers, and made 6. And they shot at least 10 to 15 of them in the first half. And that's why, for a large part of the first half, they were trailing by double digits. Now, I will say that Rutgers was making some shots. They started the game hot. I feel like the defense was there. I feel like even when they were down 15, I was like, we're defending well, but they're just hitting open shots. Dylan Harper, Ace Bailey hitting some tough shots, whatever. I thought what my biggest fear early in the game is they weren't getting any offensive rebounds. They were not active on the boards, and that eventually changed, right? They end up finishing with 18 offensive rebounds. 18 offensive rebounds, and we lose by 9. 18 offensive rebounds, and we lose by 9. I think it's very clear that this team needs to do more set plays inside. It's just that is where we're at this point. I guess if I'm going to criticize Brad here, like they need to do more of trying to get in the paint. That is where I'm at. We need to get in the paint more, because as wide open as these kids are from 3, they just can't make them. They just can't make it. Doesn't make any sense to me. I can't blame Brad for running shit that lets people or helps people get open for wide open 3s, and we miss them. I think 2 things are true. They need to run an offense closer to what we saw against Ohio State, and these kids need to step up. They are making more money than probably all of us here in this YouTube chat, okay? Because of NIL. That is facts. They're making more money than me, okay? I feel bad because I'm so used to not doing it throughout my life on blaming college kids on this and this and this, but they are now paid. Kylan Boswell was a good 3-point shooter at Arizona, okay? This guy can't hit a 3 to save his life, okay? 0 of 3 from 3 again yesterday. Dre Gibbs Lawhorn, 0 for 4. The only guy who could make a 3 yesterday was Will Riley. And Will Riley, it's like night and day between him and Kasparas Jakucionis right now. And we'll talk more about that. But like, Will Riley is the only guy I feel confident shooting the ball right now. If it's outside the paint, he's the only one I feel confident about, which is insane to think about considering how I felt about this guy 2 weeks ago. So I think, again, 2 things are true. I think Brad could have made some adjustments defensively on Dylan Harper earlier. Maybe. I don't know if that would have changed anything. Maybe more double teams. Don't just let him ISO and take a guy off the dribble, whatever. Especially in the last 10 minutes. That's what I felt like they did. They could have done that. They could have ran more set plays to get inside early in the game. Because not only were they jacking up some 3s, but they were also missing 3s that were actually wide open that ran through the flow of the offense. So I just have a lot of frustration right now, man. I got a lot of frustration right now because I don't know what's wrong with this team. You look at the names on this team, you look at them out there, and you're like, this team is better than this. This team is better than this. Even if Trey White sits out because he's sick, even though he's on the freaking bench because he's sick. Make that make sense. Even though Tomislav Isevich rolls an ankle, they're good enough to beat Rutgers. They should be. They should be. And that's it. I'm so tired of this roller coaster. I know it's been a day, so I should have got this all out to like someone at my job today, or just yelled at a wall or looked in a mirror and yelled all this. But I'm still so freaking mad about this loss because I am at a point where, yes, if you lose games, coaching has something to do with it. But for fuck's sake, we got some paid college students here, and you were brought in to do this, and you were brought in to do this, and you were brought in to do this, and all of them aren't doing what you were brought in to do. And at the same time, you're making money. That's where I'm at. And I'm so tired of no one wanting to criticize the players. That's where I'm really at. No one wants to criticize the players. Kylan knocked down a freaking wide open 3, man. Kasparas, stop turning the ball over. Make some free throws. All right. I don't know if I have it all out yet, but that is where I'm at. That is where I'm at. And again, I've said this before. The standard is so high at Illinois now that whether this is irrational or not, we all have the right and we all have the right and we all have the expectation of more. We all have the right to feel this way, and the expectation is more than this. I don't care that everyone outside of Dre Gibbs Lawhorn is new on this team. It is February, not November. You played a tough non-conference schedule, and we're coming out here. We're losing to USC. We're losing to Nebraska. We're losing to Maryland by 20 at home. And we're losing to Rutgers, who are 11-10 coming into that game. And you shoot 30% for 3/4 of the first half. I sure as hell hope that this is all just part of the journey. That once we get to March, you have KJ and Will Riley playing incredible basketball all at the same time. And someone will have donated their ankle to Tommy. And that no one else is fucking sick and sitting on the bench at the same time. I absolutely hope that that's where we're at come March, okay? God, fuck, guys. Fuck. This is probably the most mad I've been in a while. Maybe since Penn State last year. That one I was pretty mad. That one I was pretty mad. Anyway, before we move on, let's go to some comments. What's up, Sonny? Thank you for promoting my show in your Discord, by the way. You're right on USC and Nebraska were worse losses than last night. At least someone agrees with me on that. Last night's loss, as mad as I am today, to me, it's not a bad loss because Ace Bailey and Dylan Harper are dudes. It's just the fact that it's just a continuance of inconsistency. This team either looks like the worst team in the country or they look like a team that's going to beat Oregon by 90. Can we find some way to where when things aren't clicking on all cylinders, that maybe we can meet a middle ground? That's all I'm asking for. Jay, welcome back, man. I've never seen a potential great team go down the toilet in a month. Maybe the 2023 team, yet that team wasn't really getting the national pub this team has gotten. Yeah. How we continue to talk about this, dude, like the comparison to the 2022-23 team. And like the only thing that I feel like is comparable is just like inconsistency stuff. Like that team beat UCLA and Texas in non-conference, and those UCLA and Texas teams were great teams. And then you got to Big Ten play. I believe they lost to Penn State. They lost to Northwestern. You know, it was just like, honestly, by the time we got to March, we were all just ready for the season to be over. If this trend keeps going, that is how I'm going to feel come March. And they have 6 games left in this month to change my mind. Get it together, man. Get it together. Carrie says, do you actually know Cubs news or is this a bit? This is a bit, Carrie. This is a bit. All of the things Cubs news always breaks whenever it's not convenient for me. That's the point. Jay, I think Sonny could have been right with this team and 2 years ago. Kind of familiar with the play on the court and the collapse down the stretch. Hopefully he's wrong. I haven't been able to check out Sonny's show from yesterday yet, but I'll have to check it out. But as far as like being right about 2 years ago, the only, again, inconsistency, sure. I just think that those guys didn't like playing together, and that's the only reason that I don't think it's true. This team is not a great 3-point shooting team, but this bad is crazy bad. You would think it should turn eventually. Eventually, I mean, Ben Rickhouse hit 3 last night. Took 8 attempts to get 3, but he hit 3. You know, like. But even him, like if he doesn't hit threes, then he's just useless. Though I do think him coming off the bench is better for this team. But we just like I've been shitting on Kylan so far. He did ignite a run in the game yesterday that eventually gave Illinois the lead. 10 rebounds, 6 points, but like, dude, like, you got to be more than this, especially when Kasparas is just not giving you what you've been getting. When is the 3-point threat of his game going to show up? When is it going to show up, man? And DGL has been awesome. He's been awesome in Big Ten play. This is probably the first game he's had where, I thought he took a couple questionable threes, couple ones that weren't really in the flow, kind of off the dribble. And like, I feel like some of those were forced, and also because no one else is hitting shots. So he's trying to pick the team up like he has been. Whatever. I'm not even really mad at Dre, right? I'm just saying in general, this team is not hitting shots. You have to start hitting shots. The coach cannot be the reason you hit shots all the time. He can draw up a great play on the inbounds. He can set up a great scheme for you and all these things on the outside from the sidelines. But you as a player, whether your name is Kasparas Jakucionis, Will Riley, Kylan Boswell, Merez Johnson, Trey White, whoever you are, when it is your turn, whenever a play is designed for you, or when you're in the flow of the offense, if you have an open shot, we need to start hitting open shots, dude. And this team just ain't doing it. And I don't know why. This team goes as KJ goes. He really hasn't been the same since the injury. The Indiana game, he was good. But since then, he's been brutal. Yeah. I think that's a good transition. Let's talk about it. Okay. Kasparas Jakucionis. I went to basketball reference, or I think it's college basketball reference, .com. Kasparas, his last 6 games. Kasparas Jakucionis, his last 6 games. All right. 11.3 points per game, 5 assists per game, 5.8 rebounds per game. Shooting 14% from 3 and 36% from the field. All right. His first 14 games. So this goes all the way up to the Washington game. Okay. 16.4 points per game, 5.4 assists per game, 5.6 rebounds per game, 41% from 3 and 49% from the field. Long story short, this guy just, whether it's his confidence, whether it's the forearm isn't completely there, he's still wearing the sleeve, whatever it is. And I'm going to take it a little bit easier on him than I am guys like Kylan Boswell and, Ben Rickhouse and whoever else that I probably have ranted enough about in this first 20 minutes. I'll take it easy on Kasparas because he is still just an 18-year-old kid. And yes, coming off the forearm injury, we really don't know how healthy he is. But he has certainly hit the freshman wall, man. He's certainly hit the freshman wall. And I don't know how we get him right. All I can think of is if you go back to the Ohio State game, his first 2 shots were layups. Is there a way we can get this guy going, get into the basket early in the game to get him into a rhythm? Because these step back threes are making me physically sick. I am unwell when he takes a step back three at this point. And I never thought I would feel that way because if you go back to the Indiana game, like Jay said, he hit a few in that game, right? I don't know, man. I don't know. I just think when I think in general, that's how you get a guy going is you need to get him some design plays going to the basket. I mean, not only is he not hitting outside shots, he's missing free throws. He missed 2 more yesterday. He missed 4 against Ohio State. It's very concerning. Now, all I can say, you want me to spin it, is that Will Riley has been awesome the last 3 games he has played. Double digits each of the last 3 games. And you are seeing why this guy was projected as a top 20 draft pick coming into the year, because when this guy gets hot, he can go on a freaking run. He led Illinois back in the first 10 minutes of the second half in this one. And he's doing it all. He's hitting the outside shot. He's driving to the basket. He's hitting the mid-range. He's making all the right plays right now. But I still think Kasparas is an extra level ahead because he can get up. He makes everyone better. He could make Will Riley even better, right? They need to get them both good come March. That's where I'm at this point. I am happy to see that Will Riley has played better, right? 6 of 16, but he was 4 or 5 from the free throw line. He made 2 out of his 5 3-point attempts. He had 6 assists and 3 rebounds. He had 4 turnovers, but Illinois they weren't terrible turning the ball over yesterday. They had 13. Rutgers had 9, so there wasn't a big discrepancy there. They obviously were worse. They've been worse in the turnover game in previous games. So I like seeing it. I like seeing Will Riley's improvement, but man, they need him to continue, and they need Kasparas to get right. And this is such a cliche, or not even cliche, but just like a duh type situation. But like, can we get some sort of drive to the basket? Can we get him set up isolation situation off some sort of set play where maybe he has a mismatch and we can take him off the dribble, take whoever off the dribble and get something going to the basket just to start the game, just to let him find a way to get a rhythm. And then maybe that outside shot will open up. But outside of that, you can tell there are certain moments in the game where his confidence is shot right now. His confidence is shot. Is it because of the refs at Michigan State? I see some tweets like that. Like, it's like I saw like 2 or 3 of those yesterday. Like is he overthinking how the refs are going to play him or whatever, or call things against him because of what happened at Michigan? I don't think so. I don't think it's that. I think his confidence is shot because he's simply just not hitting shots. What did I say, 14% from 3 the last 6 games? My confidence would be shot too if I can't knock one down. So I think that for him to get out of this freshman wall, he needs to get back to doing the basics. What did he do at the beginning of the year that got him, that put him in position to get to where we all were like mesmerized and we were like, we are truly watching something special? I remember beginning of the year against non-conference mid-major schools, this guy was a facilitator. This guy was active in on the boards, offensive rebounds. This guy was making everyone else better. That is the very least that I feel like he could start with, I think. Hit some free throws, go to the basket, get to the foul line, stuff like that. I think as those tougher games came along, you could see him be a major factor in transition. And yesterday, Illinois had fast break points. They had 10 fast break points. Rutgers had 24, by the way. That if he can, the one moment he had yesterday, I think the shot ended up being blocked by Ace Bailey, or maybe it was Somerville. I don't know. But he was in transition. It was like it was like more like a 2-on-3 situation. He just ends up driving. There's a guy who came from behind and blocked the shot out of bounds. Illinois ball, whatever. But like maybe we need to push the tempo more. The defense has continued to be awesome for this team. Defense has been keeping them in games. Maybe they need to push. Maybe they need to push more. I just think going back to the basics and some frame will help this guy get back to where we've seen. But it will certainly help too if he just starts hitting shots again. The mid-range shot isn't even going down right now, man. Hit a floater in the lane. I just think starting the game trying to get downhill is going to be the best way for him to get back to what we've grown to go accustomed of. All right. Where are we at? 27 minutes. I appreciate y'all for being here. I really do. Jay says, what's bad is we've been waiting for Riley. Now he's playing well, yet now everyone else went in the tank. I know. And I think Brad assembled a pretty good class this year. It's either like one or two guys perform well and the rest are just nothing. And then it'll go from those two guys to a couple other dudes, but those other two guys, they start to falter. It's like we need a well-oiled machine. All right? Like I feel like saying this makes so much sense from a baseball perspective when I talk about covering the Cubs. Like when your starting pitching is consistently giving you 5 to 6 innings and your offense can find a way to hit with runners in scoring position and you have a decent bullpen at the end, like you are a well-oiled machine. All 3 factors of the game are doing it. And if all 3 factors are doing it, then you're clicking on all cylinders. You need at least 2 of them to be clicking to have success, to find a way to have some consistency. That's why the Cubs didn't make the playoffs last year, because their offense was terrible for most of the season and their bullpen wasn't good enough either. Their starting pitching was awesome, but not their bullpen, right? And neither was their offense, at least for 2 months of the year. And by the time those 2 months were over, they were freaking out of it. So it's to have any form of consistency in baseball, you have to be able to do 2 of those 3 things for 162. And in this sport, I feel like you have to defend, and you need to find a way to just make shots 40%, at least 40%, whether they're 2s, 3s, whatever, altogether 40%. If you can shoot 40%, 40 to 45%, and defend the way this Illini team wins or does, you can win. Illinois shot 41%, but they shot 21% from 3. So I'm asking for Illinois to shoot 30% from 3. Can they shoot 30% from 3? Offense, defense, the intangibles, 50-50 balls. Not turn the ball over. Even though the turnover discrepancy in this one isn't as bad as previous games, they still led turnovers here. And their turnovers are a big part of what led to them trailing early in that game last night too. They were just kind of lucky at certain points that Rutgers wasn't making everything. But I give a lot of credit to their defense. 68% from the free throw line, 13 of 19. They make all their free throws. The score is closer. They don't win the game, but it's closer. Maybe you hit a couple shots. I mean, it's just, this team just cannot continue to shoot this bad, man. It just can't continue to shoot this bad. These guys need to step it up, dude. They really do. All right. That's 30 minutes of ranting. Let's go big picture. I have yet to listen to Brad Underwood's post-game presser related to Tommy Avicic. So we'll continue. I will go watch that eventually, but I am worried because I have rolled the ankle before, and I won't be surprised if he doesn't play on Saturday. So that will not be good for Illinois against Minnesota. And we've seen how this offense has played without him. So who's going to step it up? Can Trey White not be sick? That would be a nice start. Can you not be sick? And I think that they're going to need a big game from Merez on Saturday against Minnesota as well. Merez was awesome against Ohio State, and I'm asking a lot from a freshman here, but this is the fact of the matter. They need Merez to step up with Tommy out, and they need Kasparas to rebound at some point. And I'm not talking about rebounding. I'm talking about bouncing back, because these last 6 games it's been hard to watch, and I've been patient the first couple ones, but just this game in Ohio State, it has me concerned. I am concerned. So, also 13 assists. They had more assists than Rutgers, I'll give them that, but I don't know, man. I think best case scenario at this point, we're looking to maybe get a 5 seed at this point. It's such a fall from grace. I mean, I really thought they could get a 2 or a 3 seed. Such a fall from grace. People are talking about a 7 or an 8 seed right now, maybe a 9 or a 10, which whatever. It'll be a tough route, but I'll take it. I'd take Illinois against almost any team in the country, and if they play if they play the best version of their basketball on any night, they can win, I think. But you just don't know which team's going to show up. So anyway, we'll get there when we get there. But this is just a very frustrating stretch. This was one of the more frustrating stretches being a fan of this team in this era. If we just go back, all right? Remember when they beat Oregon by 90? Kasparas saved them against Washington, win by 4, beat Penn State by 90. Then it starts. You lose to USC. You beat Indiana by 90. You lose to Michigan State because of the refs. Lose by 20 at home to Maryland. You beat Northwestern. You get revenge. Good. Can we turn the corner? No. We go to Nebraska, lose by 6. Come home, play Ohio State, win by 8. Took a 15-0 run in the second half, but you did it. And then I thought perhaps we're turning the corner because we shot 30 free throws and we were getting downhill and we were going to the basket. Doesn't matter. Come back against Rutgers, and it's just a little bit more of the same as we've seen during the stretch. So I think Saturday is as must win as it's been. I feel like I keep saying that every game is must win. And the reason is I'm saying this about seeding in the NCAA tournament, but I mean, you're not taking advantage of the situation right now, right? Like losing Nebraska, losing USC, like those are 2 wins you should have. And losing to Rutgers, no matter how much better I think that team is compared to its record, it's still a game that you should have won. And now you have Minnesota on the road. So Minnesota has the same record as Rutgers. I think Minnesota is not nearly as talented as Rutgers, but it's a Big Ten. Any team can win in this conference any day of the week. But you have UCLA and Michigan State next week. You better win on Saturday against Minnesota. you better win on Saturday against Minnesota. Just plain and simple. UCLA, Michigan State, Wisconsin, and then you face Duke. All right. You need to win Saturday. I expect them to because they're pretty good coming off a loss, but God, should be winners of 3 straight going into UCLA, but whatever. Whatever, man. All right. I appreciate y'all for hanging out. I really do. And I'm sorry if you got tired of my yelling. But I'm just a passionate fan like you, and I'm concerned. I am concerned. I love Brad Underwood, and I love this program, and I love everything that they have done over this era. But this is probably the first time where I'm sitting here and I don't think I've ever blamed the players as much as I have for this program than during this stretch. I don't think I've ever blamed the players as much as I have during the stretch. This is new territory for me, but I think everyone deserves some blame, but at some point these players need to do what they were brought in to do. Make shots. All right. Anyway, if y'all could hit the like button before you go and subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't, I'd appreciate it. Tell a friend about the show. I appreciate Sonny again for sharing the show into his Illinois Locked On Illini Discord. I appreciate that. Saturday, I hope to be back right after the game, but if not, it'll probably be either Saturday night or sometime Sunday. So stay tuned for that. And for everyone in the chat asking me about Bregman news, I'm assuming the Bregman news didn't break, or you all would be telling me that the Bregman news broke. I keep trying to manifest it. But it ain't happening. So I'm sorry. So anyway, I will see you all this weekend here on the YouTube channel for after the Minnesota game, and hope that things get on the right track. And I hope to have a better answer about what's going on with Tommy, and hopefully we see a bounce back from KJ. So, but as always, guys, I appreciate that support. And for y'all watching today, have a much better rest of your Thursday than I am having. And I'll see you next time. As always, ILL.